have any champagne yet, though.
Okay, I forgot the intro. So, when do we get the countdown on this?
Let's just start.
What is the intro? Hey, y'all. Been a while.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all.
Hail.
Hey.
Okay, first of all, California hose and hail. If you're going to get an accent, get it right. Hail.
I said, hey, y'all.
I know. You said hail. Hail. Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Y'all.
Jesus Christ. Can you stop?
Are you trying to do this?
Don't pop yet. Now I'm going. Here I go. Hey, welcome back. It's been a while. Stop it.
I was singing the Air Force song in my head. I don't know what he was doing.
Hey, it's been a while.
Jesus Christ, it's going to take an hour.
Here we go into the wild
Blue yonder.
into the sky.
I don't know how.
I think my hair got messed up.
Jesus.
Nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force.
Nothing can stop us now. Hey,
Y'all.
welcome back.
It's been a
No,
while. Wait.
They didn't go anywhere. We did.
What?
Hey,
Y'all.
stop it.
Just trying to be friendly. They missed us.
Hey. Jesus.
We're praying on the show now.
Okay, stay away from religion and politics, and we'll be good.
And hose.
And hose.
Disney gives free T-shirts to the host.
For hose.
They do.
They do.
That also was that the
Yes.
girls on the internet started realizing that, so they started dressing slutty to the parks on purpose.
Yes.
For
Yep.
a free shirt.
Yep.
Yep.
I
And then, so to the point, they stopped doing it. They just
Yeah.
escorted them out and said, you don't get to stay
Yep, that was it. That was
until you find another shirt. Hey.
it. Y'all.
I think it's cute. Keep it.
Hey.
Y'all.
It's been a while. Today, God,
Bless America, land that I love. Stand aside her.
a strider?
This is gonna be tough.
So America's a woman. That's what I'm hearing.
America. You want to put a boot in her ass.
Hey, y'all.
What?
I'm crying is the problem. Hey, y'all. It's been a while. So happy to be back. Today, we're going to be talking about my California adventure. I actually took a chance to go to Disneyland Resort. So today on Mimosas with Mickey, we'll be talking about that.
Now my turn?
Now your turn.
All right. Oh, God bless. 3, 2, 1. That's pretty good. Let's get the
Go ahead
show
and
started.
Go ahead and pour for us.
I'm just tagging along today anyway. It's Yuck Mucky Mike. There you go.
Thank you. All right. So I had the unique opportunity to get to go to Disneyland Resort. And I say unique opportunity because it isn't really anything that I'd been planning on doing. My partner in crime here, Mike. Oh, by the way, that's Mike. I'm Ruthie.
Hi, Ruthie.
Hi. Hi, producer Reagan.
Hi, producer Reagan. How you doing?
My partner in crime actually lived in Southern California for a while growing up. And so for him, going to Disneyland was just like a thing on field trips. They went when people came in from out of town. He wasn't really interested in a trip there. And because of that, I'd never really thought of planning one.
Well, I'm just going to tag on to that just real quick. It's not that I didn't want to go there. Other than some of the parks that they put together that you're going to go into that I have not seen. As far as the entertainment value, when you grow up in that area, the Florida experience opened up a whole different experience for me.
Right. Right. So actually, when we first got together, he didn't think he was interested in Disney at all because he was like, well, I've been to Disneyland. And then.
Well, I went to Epcot and it was different when I went with you.
Right. Right.
So.
Anyway, I got an opportunity to go because I had a work trip to Southern California. Kind of planned last minute. And I came home and I told Mike I was going to Southern California. And he said, well, why don't you tack a day on and go to Disneyland? Wow. I mean, that's a good husband, right? So absolutely, I signed up about 5 days before we were going to be going. I planned a time to go to Disneyland, which is actually going to bring me to my first wonderful point about it. It doesn't take much planning. Unlike a Disney World trip where I feel like I need definitely some time to put together some dining reservations, my plans, what park I'm going to go to, what day, etc. I had one day. What am I going to do in one day? Didn't have to plan anything. I just showed up and did it. And that was amazing. That's actually going to be my first beautiful point about the distinction between West Coast and East Coast. I don't think you can just show up to Florida and have as good of a time as possible. And I think you can in California.
That was the first thing you told me when I told you to take the extra day. You're like, I don't know if I have time. There is a lot of planning that goes into getting an experience out there. Now, she had one benefit that someone that's just trying to decide if they're going to do this, her daughter, our daughter, had made a trip to California on a business trip of her own. She threw an extra day on, and she was reporting back to us the things she did. And my beautiful wife, Ruthie, said, challenge accepted. I'm going to do better than you did.
Nah, no, I was just calling her up saying, hey, how did you do this? What did you do? And it really turned out great. So I had one day at the end of my business trip. After the last day of the conference, I stayed in the same hotel. I woke up the next morning, drove from where we were to Anaheim, got to the parking lot at the time the parking lot opened, took the tram, and I basically walked in as the park opened. So I wasn't staying at a Disneyland hotel. I wasn't staying on any of the Good Neighbor hotels. I just showed up, parked in the parking lot, and went in. My plan was that I was going to start the day there. Well, just a little background. There's two parks, if you don't know. There's Disneyland, and then there's Disney California Adventure. My plan was I was going to start the day at Disneyland. Still in California, you can't hop until 11 a.m., so I had park hopper tickets. I was going to do my morning in Disneyland and then move over to Disney California Adventure for the afternoon. And I was going to just do as much as I could, with the focus being on doing the things that either Florida doesn't have or the things that are different. So with that in mind, and I did buy Genie Plus. Let me just start out saying I did buy Genie Plus because I knew I had one day and I wanted to get as much in as possible. It ended up being great. I don't know that it was necessary. I think I never saw a line that was longer than like 45 minutes. I think I probably could have done everything, but with Genie Plus, I never stood in lines. I mean, I think the longest I waited for anything was 15 minutes, and it was something that didn't have Genie Plus available. That is one thing. A lot of things at the West Coast, the rides aren't set up for Genie Plus. So there were a lot that it wasn't an option for. So I started off my day in Fantasyland. I will say Fantasyland, I definitely give to West Coast. Fantasyland, I thought, was so much better on the West Coast than it is on the East Coast. It was much smaller. It had these really great dark rides, things that I'd never seen before. Alice in Wonderland, Pinocchio, the Snow White ride, the Nemo that used to be the
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
20,000, which you had really fond memories of. You were excited when I was going in the submarine.
Well, there's a lot of things I was excited for you to ride. There was things as my childhood is the Tom Sawyer Island was huge for me because that's one place that the adults let you go. They walked away. There was no supervision. And it literally was us being little kids in the Midwest on the Mississippi.
Yeah.
We got to go in the caves. We got to go run around. There was nobody there. It was a really fun time. It was literally, you go across the bridge and you're in your playground. So that was really cool. Walking into that submarine and now you're underwater. And I know they've really done above and beyond where I think Nemo's in there now.
Yeah, it's a Nemo-themed ride now.
Yeah, so it's really great what they've done with it. But I was excited for you to see things like that are still there. They've been rebranded, kind of like they just did with the waterfall ride.
What they're doing is Splash Mountain right now, making it Tiana.
Tiana, yeah. So same ride, but they're rebranding it. And in California, they did a lot of this rebranding, except for it's a small world. She loves this. I has to do it in Florida all the time.
And California blew it away.
I told her, I said, you got some of the ride that's outside, which is, you're not going to believe that part of it. But then on the inside, what happened?
What I really liked, it was two things. So Small World in Florida, you've got these big rooms. You go into these big cavernous rooms and kind of go around on your boat like this. California, it was smaller rooms. It was more smaller rooms. So it was a smaller amount of space. You didn't feel like you were just in this huge hulking room. But the other thing that I thought was really cool was they did, which I usually don't say, let's bring the intellectual property in on everything, but they brought Disney characters into the country. So when you were in Italy, there was a Pinocchio. When you were in England, there was an Alice. There was even a scene that was underwater, so you could have Little Mermaid. And I just thought that was so cute because they were still done in the Mary Blair style of the dolls.
Yeah.
Which was really, I just came off that ride going, oh my gosh, that was just amazing.
Yeah.
The
Exactly.
other one that I say was head and shoulders above Florida was Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes. And you knew it would be.
I knew it would be. I'd read ahead of time. I knew. So it's a longer ride. It has some extra scenes. It has a second drop. It just was awesome. Just walking in, I went, oh, this is a completely different experience. And then, and this is going to lead me to my next point, when I walked out of Pirates of the Caribbean, there was a quartet of pirates singing and playing instruments standing out on the street in New Orleans Square.
Well, let's just pull back a little bit. I know COVID had a lot to do with some of the things for character meet and greets and things like that. Because I will tell you, in Florida, when we went to the Pirates of the Caribbean, I didn't want to get on the ride. I wanted to stay and watch the show where they were playing in the shack, and there was they put on a Johnny Depp, Captain Jack Sparrow would come out during the show. Just
and they do still have that. They do, but this wasn't an official show. This was more like what Disney calls the streetmosphere.
Yeah,
that they used to have a lot of in Hollywood studios, and they still have a little bit at Animal Kingdom where there's just random things happening.
Yes.
But it was all over the place in both Disney California Adventure and in Disneyland. I saw that streetmosphere, and that leads me to the next thing that I thought was different is the streetmosphere and also the characters just walking around. Yeah. It wasn't character meet and greets. It was characters just walking, and they'd pass by you and then they'd stop and talk to people. And it was really just that, had a little bit more of that magic from the characters. That was really cool. That you don't really see. I mean, when in Disney World, you can see the characters, but you go and stand in line and wait and see the characters. If they're walking somewhere, they can just kind of wave, but you're not going to be able to stop and talk to them.
Right. That is a smaller area.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you, when I went to Florida the first time, and it was a family trip, it wasn't with you, it was a different experience for me. I was a high schooler, angsty teen. Yeah, I know you guys got teens, they're angsty. I was. And I didn't want to be there. And I'd rather be hanging out back in Texas with my girlfriend. And, I know this is a lot of trips nowadays where the parents take their kids with them and they take their kids' friends with them. Mm-hmm. Not when I was growing up. So anyway, the magic came from Disneyland, went to Florida. It was good. I enjoyed it. But I'm going to tell you, when I started looking at Disney through your eyes, it was a different experience for me.
That's sweet.
It changed the way that I looked at Disney.
Thank you.
So
that's sweet. All right. Next thing that I want to say was really, really cool that I will put West Coast over East Coast was in Disney California Adventure. One of the lands, they had some really cool lands. So there was the Cars land with Radiator Springs. That was really cool. It didn't blow me away as much as Avengers Campus. So we're big Marvel fans.
Yes.
We cosplay Marvel characters.
Yes.
And it was so cool in Avengers Campus. And this is one thing I do think you would love if we get the opportunity to, that, you've got Spider-Man flipping around, this incredible animatronic that's flipping around. Ant-Man just walking down the street. Black Widow was doing a fight up on a balcony. I mean, like everywhere you looked, there were these characters, these actors that were completely, and they looked so much like it. I saw Star-Lord and I could have sworn it was Chris Pratt. And you're just sitting there having lunch at a quick service and watching Black Widow have a fight. It was really, really cool. And the rides there were amazing also. The Spider-Man ride is incredible. The Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a redo of Tower of Terror, which I wouldn't have thought I'd liked because I love Tower of Terror. I love the Twilight Zone stuff. But the Guardians ride being in that Tower of Terror mechanism was amazing.
Okay.
It was so cool.
I can see that.
Yeah. So I loved Avengers Campus. Like I said, the whole day was just easier.
Yeah, you were reporting back to me, and your reports were way more packed with things that you already did than what you normally would have done in a regular day.
By 2 p.m., so I got there at 8 a.m. for open. Yeah. By 2 p.m., I had done everything, both parks that they didn't have in Florida. So pretty much I'd done everything in Disney California Adventure. There are a few things that are the same. I'd done the things in Disneyland that don't exist in Magic Kingdom.
Right.
By 2 p.m. And I know I had Genie Plus, and I know, I kind of knew what I was doing.
Okay,
I went in with a plan.
Yes.
But I think even if you're there going in completely blank slate, I think you could easily do both parks full out. Because again, I skipped the things that exist in Florida. But if you want to do everything, you could get everything done in 2 days easily.
You would have been redundant woman of redundancy had you.
If I had 2 days, I would have been doing everything.
Yeah.
After 2 p.m., then I started slowing down. So then I, let me go find a drink somewhere. There were a couple of little nice places in California Adventure where you could go get an adult beverage. In Radiator Springs, there were the cozy cones, and there's one that has churros, and the ones that has ice cream, and there's one that had vodka slushies. And I was like, well, that's my cone that I'm going to right there is the vodka slushy cone. I got a churro with it also, which was a really nice pairing.
I got pictures.
Yeah.
It looked interesting.
It was good. I found a little lounge. I went and sat at the Cathay Circle Lounge. Oh, that's another thing on the dining. I didn't have any dining reservations. Again, 5 days out, I was going.
Nope.
Didn't have my 60 days that I was getting something booked. I went on walk-up lists. I said, I would really like to eat at Cathay Circle. Really nice place, kind of an old Hollywood vibe. I got on the walk-up list. I was in the lounge in like 6 minutes. Like, wow. I know they have that in Orlando also. I've never seen someone get in on it that fast.
That's one thing that we did talk about was even at Rope Drop, they don't have Rope Drop in California.
They did.
Not as many people.
Not nearly as many people. I mean, I was up towards the front of Rope Drop, but looking back behind me, not nearly as many people. Yeah. The thing is, California is more of a locals park. Yep. Late at night is when it gets busier.
Okay.
People are going after work. There's a lot more annual pass holders in California. And that actually leads me to one of the other things I think is neat about California is they do a lot of these after hours events that are just these small, it's not like a big, we're doing the, after hours like they do. In Orlando, they're kind of these big experiences and it's a big deal. They're very expensive. These are less expensive. They're more frequent through the year. So when I was there, it was Sweethearts Night. It was right before Valentine's Day.
Right.
And so it was couples coming in and you got a little badge that had a heart on it. And the idea was after 8 p.m., it was only going to be couples and you paid extra for the Sweethearts Night. There was extra food and drinks, but it was just a few nights. They have grad nights. They have Star Wars nights. There's a lot more of these special nights. They were even having the Lunar New Year celebration when I was there. That was neat. And little pop-up parades that were Lunar New Year themed.
There is a lot of differences between the parks.
Yeah.
And I think what you're alluding to is, I'm not going to say it's less crowded or it's less of an adventure there. I think it's just as adventurous and, I don't know, more casual.
Yes. Much more casual, much more laid back.
More laid back where you really feel like you're not in that rush.
Yeah.
Get in line, get to the next thing, get to the next one. I really, our correspondence was when you were sitting down relaxing, and I'm sitting here going, wow, if we're not at the World Showcase at Epcot, there is no sitting down and relaxing.
Yeah. No, and I had lots of times just sitting and watching people.
Yeah,
it was actually very funny.
That's what I love.
Yes, it was fun. I was in line for Soaring, which again, I know they have Soaring on East Coast also, but it's one of my favorites. So after I'd done everything, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do Soaring now. I was a little disappointed that it was Soaring Around the World and not Soaring over California, given I was in California.
But you were in Florida and they brought back to Soaring over California.
That's true. But I was in line, and there were these two women in line behind me, and they were regulars at Disneyland. You could tell, they were talking about when we were here last week and that other time. And one of them said, "Oh, I heard you finally went to Florida. What'd you think?" And so I'm kind of just eavesdropping behind me.
As one does.
As one does. When you're in line by yourself, you need to do that. Anyway, the one who had been was like, "Oh, I hated it. It was so big. It was so hard to get around to places. I felt like we couldn't, didn't know what to do because it was so spread out. I couldn't figure out where anything was. It was just confusing. Yeah. It was hard."
Right.
Okay. And I'm going to be the first to admit, this is why I'm a Disney travel planner, to try and help people, because going to Disney World, if you don't know what you're doing, it can be hard, and you can come away going, "Wow, that was a waste of time and money." If you know what you're doing, you can have a great time. And that's why I'm here. Again, tripsbyruthie@gmail.com. You can find me there. I'll help you make it navigable.
Or go to Mimosas with Mickey.
And there's a link. But
I know, shameless plug.
They were really unhappy about their Florida experience. And they were talking about, it's just so much more fun here, and we can just show up here and we can just find what we want to do. And I ended up talking to them a little bit when we were coming off the ride. I was wearing my Mimosas with Mickey hat, and they asked about it. And I said, I heard your conversation, and it was interesting because they said, "Well, we wish we knew what we were doing." And I said, "Well, I get it, though, because I'm here and I see how easy this is, and I didn't plan at all or really research at all." So...
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I'm going to come back to one thing. I've been saying all these really great things. Here's my biggest con about it, though.
What's your biggest con?
I didn't feel the magic.
Yeah.
I had a great time. It was awesome. It was fun. It was, playful. It was whimsical. I didn't feel that magic. I didn't cry on Main Street. It's not because their castle is stupid small.
Well, it is.
It is. It's tiny. You're sitting there going, "Where's the castle?" Oh, that, okay. But it wasn't the size of the castle. And Main Street's exactly the same other than that.
I understand.
But I still didn't have that feeling. And I was trying to figure out what it is. I think it's that it's just not in the bubble as much, And what I say by that, I was riding the Ferris wheel at Disney California Adventure. And when I was up on top of the Ferris wheel, I saw highways.
Oh, it's in the middle of
Because you're just right off the highway.
Yeah.
There is not anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're on the top of a tall ride. There's nowhere on Disney property. You might see backstage, the stuff behind the little service roads behind the park.
They do a good job of blocking that out.
But you don't see highways. And I was up there and I saw traffic on the highway. I don't know what highway it was, but the 405, I don't know. I don't know. But I saw traffic and I went, "Oh, okay." And it kind of brought it into life that it's not that bubble. Again, it was wonderful, but I didn't have that magic feel.
Like I was saying before, when I was at Disneyland as a kid, it didn't really exude the magic that I felt the first time that I went down Main Street with you. And of course, you're just tears the first time I walked down there.
And every time.
Well, for me, that's the first time that I saw that.
Yeah.
Emotion, to see someone get so into the magic of being there. And I told you when you went that it's going to be a different experience for you.
It was.
So, and I also think the other thing that you had to overcome was all the research you've done, all the things, even with our daughter going and her checking back in and the different things like that. There's a different persona there. And I would argue to say that you're probably going to get Shanghai is going to be different. You're going to get the Paris. I think
each of the parks probably have their own personality
to them, and
it was just different.
Pull that. Yeah, it was, but it was not a bad thing.
No, not at all. I had a fantastic day.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful day.
Yeah, and I still have fond memories of Disneyland. Like I said, I remember sitting on the curb waiting for the school buses to come and pick us up, which is just, I mean, back in the dinosaurs would come and grab us and take us back to school. Yeah, that was a long time ago. Anyway, yeah, but they don't change the atmosphere. The atmosphere that they have at these parks, they seem to maintain it very well.
Yeah.
Hey, so I've got a question.
Okay.
Do you think you'd ever go back?
That's a really good question.
Thank you.
If we had an opportunity to be in Southern California for some other reason, I'd go back in a heartbeat. I don't think I'd plan a trip to Southern California just to go. And that, to me, comes down to the very biggest difference. I will go to Florida just to go to Disney World and nothing else. I don't think I would go to Southern California just to go to Disneyland.
I think that's fair. And I think I'm going to jump on that conversation that we had of, I don't think that there's enough there to pull you just to go there.
Right. I think if you're already in Southern California for something else and you can say, I'm going to tack on a day or two and add this in, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Or if you have other things you want to do there. Universal Hollywood is supposed to be amazing. I didn't get a chance to do that. Obviously, so many things in LA to see, so many things in Southern California to do. So if you're there for something else, absolutely go. It was a blast.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't plan a trip just for that. And I think that's the biggest difference to me.
I think that is a legitimate reason. And I think most people that do.
You said doo-doo.
That was really crappy of me. I'm just got to say that was uncalled for. And I apologize to the viewers out there.
So anyway, that's my thoughts on West versus East. Love them both. One holds a better place in my heart, but I'm so glad I got the opportunity to go West and see what there was to see. And I want to remind you that you can find Mimosas with Mickey on Instagram, on YouTube. And if you need some help booking a trip to either West Coast, East Coast, Disney Cruise Line, you can go to mimosaswithmickey.com and I'll be happy to help you out.
Absolutely.
Till next time.
I'm
Ruthie.
time. I'm Mike. Safe travels. So, hey everybody. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know I enjoyed it. Hey, if you have any comments, drop them in the comment section below. Hit like. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Mimosas with Mickey. We really look forward to hearing from you. Anything, comments, good, bad, let us know how we're doing. We always love your feedback. Thank you.